Hi, Karen Craig Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. I want to start the week and let's revisit the idea of lunar eclipses because last week we had a lunar eclipse, and lunar eclipses, even though they happen in a short span of time, they actually really demarcate a time frame during which we get to accelerate or amplify whatever the theme that lunar eclipse brings us. Now, the lunar eclipse is often about us going deep into looking at our shadow side, looking at the underbelly of what's truth in our life, what's truth in the story that we tell about ourselves and our life direction. And whenever we have a lunar eclipse, it gives us an amplified capacity, let's call it a cosmic magnifying lens, to look at our life and to really look at our life in the context of what's working and what's not. Now, the solar energies during our lunar eclipse have been bringing us the last three transits, the last three movements of the sun in the last three hexagrams in the Chinese I Ching or in the Human Design System. All three of these themes that the sun has been bringing us while the moon has been doing its thing have been giving us opportunities to start revolutions in our lives, to start a revolution in our own capacity for intimacy, to start a revolution in terms of what we're willing to allow ourselves to experience, not only at our own hands, but to really make us look more deeply into what are our relationships doing? Are we being supported? Are we being loved? Are we taking care of ourselves? And do we feel like we're crafting an evolved aspect of intimacy in our relationships? Are our friendships working? Is our community working? We are really looking deeply at our role in the fabric of all the people in our lives. And we're really asking us, are we serving to the capacity that we want to be serving? And are we being served to the capacity to which we want to be served? So you've probably been, over the last couple of weeks, really diving deep into your relationship energy. And this energy is about bringing up patterns. It's about looking at the past. It's about looking at the stories that we tell. It has even been, and this is really the theme we're still knee deep in right now, really looking at, are there any patterns, or are there any places, or are there any stories that you're telling about yourself or your relationships or your relationship patterns or your relationship traumas or joys from the past? Are there aspects of the definition that you have about what it means for you personally to be in relationship? Are there aspects that you need to either let go of or that you need to maybe forgive? I know this is probably pretty obvious to most of you, but one of the things I really want you to think about is the person, perhaps, who you might be holding lack of forgiveness towards might not even be the same person today. And certainly that person, at least that person in the context of how you remember it, isn't even the same. Research shows that up to 80% of what we remember as experiences isn't even true. Now, that being said, I am not saying that what you experienced wasn't true. I am not in any way denying your experience, so please don't see that. But what I am gently suggesting is this is a powerful time for you to look at what stories from the past are you holding on to, particularly in the context of relationship, that is allowing you to show up less than who you really are. Are there stories that are holding you back from your lovability? Are there stories that are holding you back from your power? Are there stories that are keeping you from expressing the true, authentic nature of who you are out into the world? And by the way, the world needs you to be that. Are there places where you're not allowing yourself to be supported by others or even by God and by Source because you think the story that you're holding on to has left you less than worthy of? Are there places where you have stories that are holding you back and consequently impacting your vitality? And are there places where you have stories that might be keeping you from expressing your full capacity to engage in the energy of sharing? Not just sharing yourself, but sharing what you have and who you are with the world from a place of compassion. The stories we tell ourselves, the meaning we give the story of our life experience determines our life direction. It determines our lovability and our capacity to give and receive love. And it determines ultimately what we end up creating, what we end up collapsing out of the quantum field. If you don't like the stories you're holding on to, you are still working with an amplified capacity right now to change those stories, to release those stories, to no longer be a victim of those stories, and to set yourself free. To set yourself free from whoever you feel like may be holding you back, and even to set yourself free from yourself. Those places where maybe you're holding on to shame or guilt or remorse or regret or anything that keeps you energetically locked into the cosmic goo of things that don't exist anymore. It's time to set yourself free. And the moon and the energy of this moon is really supporting you in releasing all of that so that you can redefine not only the past, but to certainly use the blessings, the lessons, the gains that you made as a result of your journey. Use those lessons to shift the meanings about yourself and your past so that you can craft a new set of meanings that support you in creating something different, something better, something much more worthy of the truth of who you really are. So do it, because we shift on Thursday out of this retrospective witnessing energy that is giving us a powerful capacity to really look back and redefine what's come before, find the blessings in the past, and to really begin again. This is a theme we've been playing with for 2 weeks now, begin a revolution. We are really enjoying this year some very grounded, earthy energy, and we haven't had that for a while. Last year, all you probably felt, I know I did, all we were dealing with last year was looking at what's wrong, everything's wrong, this is wrong, that's wrong, this wrong, that wrong. You open up the paper, everything's terrible in the paper, right? We noticed, as part of our crafting a new story, a new direction for ourselves, we noticed what we didn't like last year. And we didn't really have the supportive energy in the celestial weather to really do the work to make the change around the things we didn't like. So it left us sort of sitting around going, bleh, I hate this, I hate that, I hate this. That energy's gone. And you probably noticed it. You probably noticed it already starting at the end of December. We are in a brand new, powerful earth energy cycle that's only going to get amped up as the year goes on. And that earth energy cycle that we're in is really supporting us now and going, okay, what don't I like? And not to sit in that, ugh, I hate it energy, but to instead go, okay, I get it. These are the things I needed to look at. These are the aspects of my consciousness that have been manifested. Now it's time to create something different, to push off against those things and to say, hey, we don't do it like this on my planet. On my planet, we build with compassion. On my planet, we share with love. On my planet, we create an environment where creativity flourishes and thrives, and people who are different, people who are outside of the mold, are celebrated and encouraged. Maybe that's what you want to create on this planet. That's what I'm trying to create on this planet. We have the energy this year to put pedal to the metal, to look at what's not working and to not get stuck there, to not stew in it like last year, but to instead say, okay, let's create something different. It's a great, exciting time, and it's a powerful time for you to really start a revolution in your life. And for you, a lot of this revolution is about changing the nature of our relationships and changing the nature of our personal relationships, our relationship with ourselves, and even our relationship with our community and ultimately our collective. It's a transformative time. And all of the stuff we sat in last year, all of the darkness we looked at last year, all of those places where we were uncomfortable with the reflection of the cosmic mirror that we were staring into, we now begin to see the purpose of that reflection and to use what we learn from those reflections to bring light back to the situation. Not just, sitting and oming with the light piece, which was an important part of it. It's about calibrating the heart, but actually to be able to go out and live in the light and to build from the light and to create from the light. So Use this week as a powerful pushing off point. I invite you this week, especially once we get past this Wednesday, Thursday energy hump where we're kind of out of the deepest, 7 to 10 day influence of the lunar eclipse. Once you get out of that cycle of really kind of still taking that inventory, I want you to set a goal for yourself this week to do one bold, revolutionary action in your life. This can be a revolutionary action about your personal life, in your relationship, even in your community. This is a great week to step out of the comfort of thinking and contemplating and evaluating, and to really get a little edgy with your boldness. Go do something that's going to initiate, at least from an action-based place, from a catalytic place, that's going to initiate a revolution in your life. Say what you always wanted to say. Release what you wanted to release. Redefine what you want to define. Go to your caucuses this week. Do something that lets you take some kind of a bold step towards redefining the story of yourself, redefining the story of your life, redefining the story of who you think you are, and start a revolution that is worthy of the magnificence of who you really are. Have a good week. I'll talk to you next week.